What is going on, everybody? John Impemba here with Howard Bender. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Show. We are here for the Friday 7-game main slate over on DraftKings. Howard, you and I did the preview show. We kind of went over some of our early thoughts, picks, and plays here for this main slate. With the afternoon show, we tend to look at some of the finalized lineups that come out, reevaluate any of the weather situations that are going on, get you guys involved in the chat, and give some updated thoughts and takes here on the main slate. How you doing today, Howard? I know you did the best bets earlier today. Looking at today's baseball slate, a full day of games. How are things looking for you?
Things are looking pretty good. Lineups are coming in, creeping in slowly but surely. So I'm enjoying that. Obviously, watching a little daytime baseball, though my Yankees are not up to snuff. But you know what? My friends over at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas have treated me so well today that I got to be honest with you, John. Ain't nothing going to get me down. I'm ready to build a good lineup.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about here. Obviously, you mentioned the early games. We got that 4 o'clock game in Coors kicking off with 30-mile-an-hour winds blowing out the center field here today. I can only imagine maybe the over or some overs are going to be hitting between the Rockies and Rays here today. But we don't have the Coors slate on the main slate. We do have 7 games here on today's main slate. We have Mets versus Reds. We have the Phillies versus the Nationals. We have the Diamondbacks versus the Braves. White Sox, Royals, Astros, Rangers, Mariners, Brewers, and Red Sox, Angels on today's main slate. Starts off at 6:40 p.m. Eastern, so a little bit of an earlier roster lock time than usual here, and running out till the 9:30 hour. When we talked about it this morning, we were looking at pitching and we were trying to figure out our decisions on where we wanted to go, what we thought made sense in terms of spending up. Spencer Strider is our top price starting pitcher here for today. So I wanted to get your initial thoughts here. Are we looking to spend up for Strider today when it comes to this main slate?
I mean, you can if you want to. We've seen Strider get banged up every once in a while. So he's definitely not immune to it. And this Diamondbacks lineup is absolutely fantastic. I don't necessarily know if I want to go Strider. He's projected at like 27% ownership going into tonight's action. And that's the third highest right there. So, if I'm going to go chalk, maybe I ride chalk on Freddie Peralta. For $1,700 less. And he's at 38% ownership right now. So, if I'm going to ride chalk, I might as well save $1,700 and see if I can't put it into someplace else.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. Your top price pitchers for today, Striders, we mentioned, Logan Gilbert, $9,600, Freddie Peralta, $93,000, Aaron Nola, $9,000. What are your thoughts on Aaron Nola here today? Obviously did not have a good opening start against Atlanta, though. They're a team that's going to give many starters a tough time here. Second start on the road in Washington. Do you think there's a bounce back opportunity for Aaron Nola here tonight?
Man, I definitely think that there's a bounce back opportunity, but Washington's bats have been awake. I'm not saying they're the be all end all at here, but Nola's definitely struggled, and it's not just this in his opening start. This struggle goes back to what he was doing last season in the second half of the year. I mean, he's petered out. I think his strikeout rate has diminished for like 3 straight seasons now. Walking a couple more guys, giving up more home runs. Now, again, it's a soft matchup here against the Nats. But, there's definitely a possibility for him to break out. But, again, I'd rather just pay the $300 more and just get that strikeout potential from Freddie Peralta against the Mariners team that just continues to whiff like in mass quantities right now.
Yeah, 100%. Peralta, 8 strikeouts in his season debut against the Mets. And now, like you mentioned, going up against the Seattle Mariners team, 30.6% strikeout rate overall on the year. Now, super small sample size, but that takes up to 32.8% on the year against right-handed pitching here. As you mentioned, the rostership here tonight, if you're looking at it, Peralta, one of the more popular options at the position here, sort of given the matchup. But obviously this is terms of Vegas totals and spreads. This is at least expected to be a competitive game between Seattle and Milwaukee. So maybe the win isn't as guaranteed there. When you're going down into the mid-tier, you have Brady Singer, Cutter Crawford, Hunter Green, Hunter Brown in the 8K range. Which of those do you prefer to build some lineups around tonight?
I'll build lineups around Crawford. Again, we're going to watch the Red Sox do what they're doing. They have a very, very soft opening schedule. So, going from Seattle to Oakland to the Angels doesn't, I don't have any fear on that one. I think Crawford's strikeout props was like minus 130 for over 5.5 here against the Halos. So I kind of like him the most. Hunter Green, I like Hunter Green from a stuff standpoint. Very rough spring. Didn't have a great opening start either. So, there's a reason that like Frankie Montas was given the opening day start, is because Green has been, kind of a problem. Now he's got great strikeout ability, and it is against the Mets, and you could, jump in on that. But, why take the chance if I just, I prefer the pitcher in Crawford. I love Hunter Brown too, but I don't love that going up against that Texas lineup. So Crawford's probably my guy right there in the mid tier. And, he's probably the lowest I'm going to go for a pitcher today.
Okay. Yeah. And you and I kind of discussed that, right? If you're looking at, there are slates where there are some kind of obvious dart throws that you can take at the pitching position, maybe based off matchup, but not really the case today. You have, again, Hunter Brown, who we like as a talent, but really tough spot against the Rangers lineup here. Fed against Kansas City. We don't think much of him during his days with the Nationals there. Griffin Canning is interesting, right? The Red Sox lineup is okay. They're not anything spectacular. Obviously, Rafael Devers is a difference maker. If I had to throw a dart at a pitcher down here that maybe could, outperform his price tag, I think Canning and maybe Quintana would be two potential pitchers, but I don't really have much in Cody Bradford, Tommy Henry, and definitely don't have anything for Patrick Corbin. So if I'm making 20 lineups and I was looking to get, cheaper options, maybe Canning and Quintana would be in my player pool, but I'm kind of in agreement with you here. I don't think I go much below the 8K range, definitely if I'm not building just one lineup today.
Yeah, and Canning and Quintana also very chalky. Canning's the second most projected owned pitcher. Quintana is fourth. So, again, I'll take the top going guy in Freddie Peralta, and then, slamming Cutter Crawford there at lower ownership, and just, hope that, that the Angels are just the Angels.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there for sure. And yeah, obviously the Quintana, $6,400. The reason for that is, well, there's some offenses that we're looking to spend.
You get what you pay for.
You do. You definitely do. Listen, Quintana at the end of last year, however, was actually very good. For the Mets, or was it the Mets or the Brewers? Whoever he ended up pitching for there at the end of last year. He was actually pitching pretty well for them. But let's go to the catcher position. You and I often talk about spending down at the catcher position, the mid-tier in the value. They moved our guy Yanier Diaz up to $4,200. I have a prop over on Underdog Fantasy for Yanier Diaz here today. You can go check out my articles for Prize Picks, Sleeper, and Underdog today to check out some of the props that I have for him. But at $4,200, we're less inclined to pay for him today. Where are you going when it comes to the catcher position?
Yeah, that's a huge bummer in a price increase for sure.
Deserved price increase, though.
Oh yeah. But usually, usually DraftKings and FanDuel, it takes them a little longer to, kind of this early in the season, it gets them a little longer there. Listen, it's Patrick Corbin on the mound for the Nats, so JT Realmuto is in play. I do like Sal Perez. If you are inclined to spend up, I don't want to spend up here. Perfectly happy going with Travis d'Arnaud. Going up against the lefty Tommy Henry, which is the prelude to a potential wraparound stack that I seriously like. And if you want to pay down, a little further and just ride the chalk, Francisco Alvarez, everybody's in on him at 3,200.
Yeah, listen, 3 straight games with doubles there, so extra base hits for Alvarez. He's basically the only Met hitting the ball consistently here. You're in Cincinnati, we know is a great hitter's ballpark, and Hunter Green, for despite throwing 104 miles an hour, also throws a flat baseball at times. And Alvarez, no stranger to hitting home runs, and I actually believe he hit righties better than lefties last season as well. So it's not like you're even in the wrong split for him there. And yeah, super chalk for Francisco Alvarez here today. I think the other one for me, the official lineup for Boston hasn't come out, but with a righty on the mound, I would imagine Reese McGuire would be out there. He's $2,500. I'm okay just straight up punting the catcher position and kind of using the extra salary at other positions here. But overall, I'm kind of with you. I was surprised to see d'Arnaud hitting ninth. We saw last year he hit in the middle of their order. We've seen this year when he was in the line, I think he hit seventh. So getting him ninth actually isn't terrible. Like you said, that means he's going to have Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Albies and that crew hitting right behind him in the order. So I'm with you there. I think those are definitely a couple options for me.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, first base. Let's dive on in. Who's your favorite first baseman?
This is another position where you have the lefty-lefty matchup with Olsen and Harper. I definitely like stacking against Corbin, and I know that the lefty-lefty matchups haven't really phased Olsen and Harper over their course of their career, but spending $6K and $5,600 for them, I didn't really find myself plugging that in. I like Christian Encarnacion Strand at $4,300 there. And then I just kind of punted. I went down to Jared Walsh at $3,500 as well. Again, I'm assuming he's in the lineup. He has played a lot for Texas this year. We haven't gotten a word that he wouldn't play today. So he's been on fire.
Think I actually have that Texas lineup here. And it looks to me like Jared Walsh is in the lineup. They've got him batting sixth in between Evan Carter and Jonah Heim.
Perfect.
Value alert. Josh Smith in the lineup.
Perfect. Yeah, lineup came out 10 minutes ago. So just as we went live, that lineup came out, so I had missed it. Walsh at 3,500. I'm fine plugging him in as a punt play. Again, there's power in this bat. He's in the middle of a really good Rangers lineup. And outside of really like last season, he had a successful run there with LA when he wasn't hurt. So he's healthy. He's hitting the ball well. He's in a good lineup. I'm fine just punting with Jared Walsh at 3,500.
Okay, beautiful.
Anybody else for you here?
I like Christian Encarnacion Strand, obviously going up against Jose Quintana. I'm very bullish on the meat of that Reds order. Just, again, I'm not a fan of Quintana. I know what he's done, what he showed some last year in a partial season. He was hurt for half the year. It's just I've seen people get burned so bad on Quintana that I'm kind of favoring that. I could be swayed. I'm not going to lie. I could be swayed, away from it, depending on how I want to construct today. But Christian Encarnacion Strand, that home start, I just, how do you not want to get that ballpark in there?
Yeah, I'm with you. And again, the fact that people are playing Quintana also means then you're getting a little contrarian with the Reds offense here today, and can take advantage of some of the, those who are playing Quintana. If you're getting 20, 25% on him, then you can maybe propel yourself over them in your contest. Do you find yourself wanting to spend up on an Olsen or a Harper at all?
I always want to spend up on Olsen or Harper, and Harper does well against left-handed pitching, so I'm not really against that. Again, I don't think, based on what I'm looking at for where else I want to spend up, I'm not really that, into Matt Olson against the lefty or Bryce Harper, even lefty on lefty crime.
Sure.
It doesn't entice me too much.
Okay. Moving on over to the second base position. Then here we have Ozzie Albies at $5,500. He's your top priced second baseman here for the day. Altuve, Ketel Marte, and Marcus Semien rounding out the 5K tier.
That does round out that 5K tier, and that is a great place to be if you're Ozzie Albies. It's Ozzie Albies gets the lefty, John.
Yeah, Albies numbers against left-handed pitching we've talked about extensively here. Not only that, we just saw him in a matchup against the lefties the other day, homered right off against Philadelphia there. It's all about, again, where you want to spend your money, because this is a slate and maybe a reason why Quintana is getting the love that he's getting. Because if we're going spend up, Peralta and then a mid-tier 8K pitcher, very difficult to, spend up too many places when it comes to building out your lineup here. But Albies obviously in a great situation last year against left-handed pitching. He had a 227 ISO, a 433 WOBA, and an OPS over 1,000 for the season. So definitely an elite split for Albies. Was he just your one guy? Was he the guy that you, when you started your lineups, you plugged Albies in and you just moved on today?
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I did. I mean, again, just locked him in there. It's kind of like what we did with Mookie Betts for the first several games of the season, where it was like, all right, let's just plug Mookie in and see where we're going to go. I just, again, against the lefty like Tommy Henry, who pitches to a lot of contact, I think that this is a great spot to pay up. And, again, could be very good part of a potential wraparound stack, John. If you haven't heard, I might be into something like that.
You may have mentioned that once or twice. Some other options here at the second base is Jonathan India leading off at $4,500 against Quintana, as we mentioned, is a pretty decent mid-tier play. If you're looking at some value, a couple of years ago, we were playing a lot of Santiago Espinal when he was at Toronto.
Right.
Last year, not so much, but a few years ago, he was actually a pretty good guy against left-handed pitching at $3,100. So he is there if you wanted to take a chance. Emmanuel Valdez should be in the lineup tonight for Boston. Again, with a righty on the mound, he generally draws those starts. He has some power in his bat for Boston. He hits at the back end of that lineup for them. $3,400 there. It's probably it for me at second base here today.
And I'm totally fine with that. You had me at Albies, and then I stopped paying attention.
And you were done.
I literally just tuned out the rest of everything that you did say. Although I'm not gonna lie, Santiago Espinal, I mean, I love him, right? I love him in NL only leagues.
Well, right. Since he moved over from Toronto this offseason. I'll give one quick shout out too to Bryce Terang. Again, yes. I know it's Logan Gilbert, but if he does find his way to getting on base, he seemingly has the green light to run. So there's certainly maybe some potential for Terang to get a couple stolen bases tonight at the second base position. Third base for you here, Howard. What are you looking at?
I mean, obviously you have to love Austin Riley going up against Tommy Henry. I think that's definitely, worthy of it. Rafael Devers against Griffin Canning. Perfectly fine with that. Michael Garcia, dude, leads off for the Royals. He's hot, right? 4 home runs all last year. He's got 3 right now. I think he's worth the eye there. But why wouldn't we want to get involved with a little Alec Baum going up against Corbin, the gas can at 4,000?
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, just getting some exposure here to the Phillies against Patrick Corbin, and obviously Alec Boehm off to a little bit of a slower start, but getting that lefty-righty matchup for him at a good price tag. He was one of the ones I initially plugged in to my lineup here as well. I wasn't sure if Candelario was going to play today because he had left with an injury, but back in the lineup, $4,400 hitting in the middle of that lineup against Quintana. Definitely down for some Candelario. This is the better split for him. He hits lefties pretty well. We saw that last year when he was with the Nationals. So, 2 mid-tier options for me play out. I mentioned Brett Beatty to you last night as a possible value play.
That and cleanup today.
Right? I mean, again, hits in all but 2 games here. He did have the home run. $3,000 hitting cleanup if you want to be different tonight and play some Mets offense against Hunter Green. Beatty as a stack piece certainly makes some sense.
Yeah. Oh man. I had this lineup all set, and the further we sit and talk about it, I mean, listen, I don't necessarily know if I want to go to Brett Beatty. I'm willing to like one off a Met with Francisco Alvarez to help pay the toll that I need for a final outfielder spot. But I don't know if I want to wipe out and mini stack it here, even though, again, Hunter Green, like you said, could be very flat. But I'll take the risk with Alvarez or Beatty, but I won't do both.
Okay. Yeah, no problems. I'm pulling up some splits here for Hunter Green. I know he doesn't have a huge sample size. So just kind of seeing if there's an obvious lean one way or the other. Let's see, against left-handed hitters last season, did hold them down. Again, he throws very hard, so guys don't generally create a ton of contact off of him, but righties actually did a ton of damage against Hunter Green last season. 377 WOBA with a 533 slugging percentage. So just something to consider there when you're looking at maybe the Mets offense. A guy like Pete Alonso, we know has a ton of home run power. Fat fastballs, though, Pete Alonso tend to go a long way the other way. So could look at Alonso maybe as a one-off home run play for today. Going on over to shortstop. A lot of top spends here. I find myself spending up at shortstop today. What are you looking at for your lineups tonight?
Ooh, shortstop. Let's see. Well, I've already given away my my serious pay down, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Brett, obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. against Eric Fetty is a great spot to be in. Trey Turner against Patrick Corbin. Again, I love as many lefties as I possibly, as many right-handed bats as I could possibly do to stack against the left-handed Patrick Corbin. Always makes me smile. Corey Seager is great. I will not, like we said this already, will not pay up for Ellie De La Cruz. I will pay up for Francisco Lindor. I've got a sneaking feeling that Lindor, if this contrarian Mets stack works, that Lindor is going to be the guy who's going to wake up, bat and lead off here for the Mets in this matchup here against Hunter Green. So I think, you can clearly spend up for any of these top 5 or 6 guys. I'll throw in CJ Abrams there, even against Aaron Nola. But with the exception of Ellie De La Cruz, I'd be happy to pay up for any 5 of those guys if it fits your build right.
Sure. No arguments with you here. I like Jeremy Pena a ton here tonight as well. $3,900. Really swinging a hot bat. Homers in 2 of the last 3 games. Gets the matchup against lefty Cody Bradford. Obviously, we know how powerful how good that Houston lineup is against left-handed pitching. They're top 5 this year in WOBA and isolated power numbers against left-handed pitching. I know it's an early sample size, but even last year, a team that just dominates lefties. So Jeremy Pena there at 39. And then you talk wraparound stack. Orlando Arcia, $3,600, hits lefties really well, hitting at the bottom of the Braves lineup.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've talked about, Orlando Arcia against left-handed pitching. And yeah, if you're down there, you could do that. You could go cheap and go with like RC and d'Arnaud, or you could go wrap around into the top part if you've got that money to spend. So yeah, I mean, listen, it's the Braves home opener. And I think that's something we also have to keep in mind here. It's the Braves home opener, and they're getting a left-handed, a left-handed pitch to contact guy coming. So I think, all Braves in any fashion or another. You want to go Marcell Ozuna and Adam Duvall? We're going to talk outfield in a little bit. Those guys are in too.
Howard, if I told you last season somebody on the Braves had a 302 isolated power number with a 604 slug and a 420 WOBA against lefties, you would have said, oh, Ronald Acuna or Ozzy Albies. No, that was Orlando Arcia last season. He had a 302 ISO with a 604 slug and a 424 weighted on base average against left-handed pitching. So some pretty elite numbers last season and a good amount of sample size against lefties here. So Arcia already hitting 450 on the year, hot. Great split spot for him there. I don't got nothing else. Obviously, you mentioned Josh Smith earlier. Definitely fits some builds if you're looking for the true punts. $2,300 going to start tonight for the Rangers with Josh Young out of the lineup.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I was looking. He's batting 8th tonight. Just a solid lefty bat, and I mean, listen, I like Hunter Brown, I really do, but we've seen him get smacked around a little bit. To me, I mean, in the way I'm building my lineups, again, because of the way we've been talking about what we're spending up for pitching, right? And then what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to spend up for pitching, and I'm trying to get that wraparound stack of the Braves.
Sure.
Right. And so for that reason, it's pushing me to paying down a lot more. So Josh Smith becomes an option. I feel like having Albies and Acuna in my lineup is, I mean, that'll more than make up for, having to punt at a position. And if Josh Smith can get on base, score a run, draw a walk, get hit by a pitch in some fashion or another that he doesn't give me a 0, well, then I'm fine. I got value here at 2,300.
All right. Agreed. All right. Let's move on over to that outfield position then. Obviously, you've talked up wanting Ronald Acuna in your lineup. He is $6,500, so they're definitely going to have to find some value to get in there. The cover of our morning show today, the preview show, we had Nick Castellanos. We liked a lot of this 4K range when we went over it this morning. What are your overall thoughts on the outfield position? Has anything changed for you?
No, I don't think anything's really changed for me. Again, like I said, getting Acuna into my lineup is something that I definitely want to do. But yeah, I mean, listen, Schwarber, paying up $5,000 for him, even though it's lefty on lefty. We know what Schwarber is capable of. I do believe I have a prop for Kyle Schwarber. I think it's I want to say I just did his total bases because his hits plus runs plus RBI was at like 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. I said on the show this morning, Kyle Schwarber was my home run call. So
there you go. There you go. So I definitely dig him. I can fade Diamondbacks here, so I don't need to use Lourdes Gurriel. Steer, Ozuna, Michael Harris. I mean, this just, there's loads of in that $4,000 range.
Mm-hmm.
I know you like Taylor Ward at 4,300. You could also go with some of those Texas Rangers if you're fading Hunter Brown. Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter are right there.
Yeah, Ward for me was more so, the Angels lineup has had some guys that are obviously been a bit productive. It's not that I'm going against Cutter Crawford at all, but it was more so, Ward himself lately has started off pretty good. But I'm more in on Castellanos here tonight. Definitely like Ozuna at 45. Duvall's at 4K if you want a little of a value there. Chas McCormick at $4,000, I think, is in a pretty good spot as well, just giving you more right-handed exposure to that Houston lineup. And if you want to stack sort of the second half of that Houston lineup, Chas McCormick, Jeremy Pena, Yanier Diaz, like that whole crew, they kind of hit 6 through 8 on that team there. So you can definitely find some value to go along. Spencer Steer is definitely one of my favorite plays for Cincinnati if you wanted to go a Cincy stack, because there's some cheap bats there. Stuart Fairchild is down here. What was he, 3K? Yeah,
and batting fifth. He's 3K, and he's batting fifth in that lineup.
Yep. Yeah. And again, righty bat. We saw this last year. He had some power against left-handed pitching. It's a great home ballpark for him here. So at $3,000, really good value at Stuart Fairchild today, hitting fifth.
Yeah, I think that's a definite value play there as well. I've got him slotted in. Trying to think of who else. Oh, we talked about the Royals. As far as their outfield goes, I'm looking at their lineup right now.
Got Melendez hitting fifth, homered last night.
Yeah, Melendez is hitting fifth. He homered last night. You got Renfroe, who's always got that capability. He's batting eighth, and then Kyle Isbell at ninth. So, options there. Melendez hitting higher up in the lineup, a little bit more enticing than Renfroe or Isbell.
Sure. Anything else for you? Like, do you have any, some of these lineups obviously aren't out official yet, but you have Chorio at $3,500. They've been playing a lot of the Angels lineup. They've been hitting Aaron Hicks second in that lineup, $3,400. Like, do you have any interest in some of these other 3K tier outfielders?
You could. There's nobody who jumps out at me. I mean, again, the Brewers are going up against Logan Gilbert. And the Mariners are going up against Freddie Peralta. So, not a whole lot of interest there. I do agree with you that the bottom end of the Houston lineup is definitely something to take a look at. But again, also when you're talking about the Angels, I do like Cutter Crawford. I do think that he's a strong talent. And, outside of like Mike Trout, there's really nobody on that lineup. I mean, if you wanted to pay down for Aaron Hicks, sure, but I'd rather pay down for Stuart Fairchild in a better situation, in a better ballpark.
Sure.
Going up against a potentially worse pitcher.
Yeah, no arguments. What's the where's the Whites? Who the White Sox got today? Singer, right?
Yeah.
They got Grossman in their lineup today. Do we even have Grossman on this slate? Why am I not able
Robbie
to
Grossman.
He's literally not in the player pool. I don't know what's going on here.
I mean, he just got brought up today.
I said, is that what's going on? But I figured he's still a major league player. They have plenty of guys here that aren't. They just get added to the 40-man. Like what's going on there?
True.
He's hitting 6 for them today. So I was like, oh, Robbie Grossman, like some power there. He's not even in the player pool. So all right, well, guys, I see you all on the at least watching the show. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat. Howard and I are obviously here to help you guys out with your lineup questions, betting questions. Howard does best bets. I've done a whole bunch of articles today for Underdog, Prize Picks, and Sleeper. So if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. Otherwise, Howard, it's time to build a lineup. Why don't we get to it?
Let's build it. You know what? I want to try doing this.
Sure.
I want to try with Peralta and Crawford.
Okay.
and I want to see what you come up with. I won't tell you the rest of what I've got going on here, but I want to see what you kind of come up with the D'Arnaud, Acuna, Albies.
D'Arnaud, Albies, and Acuna.
Yeah.
All right, so that's giving me $3,300 to build a lineup.
Right, that's what I'm saying, baby. That's what I'm saying.
So we obviously have to go Fairchild here at 3K.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to help you out.
Okay.
Take out D'Arnaud. Let's just say Albies and Acuna.
Okay.
Because it'll save you. Because I know. You want to tug on a little Reese McGuire. I know you do.
I was wondering if you were going to make the joke, Howard.
You mean sure? Why wouldn't I make the joke?
I was just
low hanging fruit.
It is a low hanging fruit. That is true. All right, 3,700. I definitely want to get some against Corbin here. So where's Castellanos? Castellanos is 44. I like Bowman 4K. That gives me 3,200. So we got to go Josh Smith here then. And then that gives us 41 at first. 41 at first. I guess would be Jared Walsh. And that gives us an extra $600 somewhere. So let's see. Can I improve this lineup anywhere? Can I get up to Schwarber? Can.
Who's hitting in between Baum and Castellanos? Oh, Stott. Yeah, I don't want
lefty bat, yeah. Thoughts on Winker and Gallo against Nola today? Yeah, you got a couple of lefty power bats there. Power bats in quotations. It's been a little bit since both of those guys have been productive plays, but Beasy, I mean, obviously, if you're going up against Aaron Nola, you kind of have to find the right Nationals. Maybe is Eddie Rosario in the lineup for them today? Let's see. We got Rosario could be a bit interesting. I know it doesn't really connect the stack there with those guys. Gallo hitting 5th, but you do have some lefty bats. There's just so much strikeout potential in this lineup that's kind of why I think Nola's at least a little interesting, is that there is a lot of strikeout upside on the second half of this Nationals lineup here. I mean, Jesse Winker is off to a pretty good start to this season, so maybe a one-off. Maybe you go like Winker. I don't really want to spend $4,800 on Abrams, though. I really like CJ Abrams. I took him in a lot of best ball leagues this year, Howard. He's like one of my favorite shortstops to grab in best ball this year. 3 straight games with 2 hits. He's homered twice. But you kind of have to be committed, Beasy, to the Nola stack against here to kind of put those guys into your lineup build. So, if you're in on Washington against Nola, then you kind of have to put Winker and Gallo probably in there for that exposure. My stacks today, I like Philadelphia. Obviously, Atlanta's another one. I do like Houston, and I like Cincinnati. I think those are 4 teams that you can kind of stack on here. Kansas City, certainly a little appealing. MJ Melendez, Michael Garcia, Salvador Perez, Bobby Witt. You can get those guys in against Eric Fetty. Some options for us there.
All right, let me give you a little something here. Clear out. Keep Peralta, keep Crawford, keep Reese McGuire in there. Keep Albies and Acuna. Oh, you got Fairchild in there too? You can keep him.
Okay.
All right. You working on that?
So I got McGuire, Albies, Acuna, and Fairchild in there. I forgot I got to blow up my screen for you, Howard. The old man eyes need to.
I know, dude. I'm dying right now.
I know. I saw you squinting and really leaning into the screen there. So,
like, what the hell? All right. I know you want to do a yeah, thank you. Oh my Lord. I know you want to throw some Philly stack in there, but try this on for size. Just tell me what you think.
Okay.
Put Christian Encarnacion Strand at first. Put Yeimer Candelario at third.
Encarnacion Strand, Yeimer Candelario. You got Fairchild in there already.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can put Josh Smith back in there at
we kind of have to go Josh Smith here. $3,800 outfielder.
And a third there you go. So now I need a $3,800 outfielder. I want to get the Phillies in there, but Brandon Marsh is a lefty bat. I'm not going to use him against a lefty.
The cheap Philly here is Rojas. He's hitting 9th. He's 2,800. So he's not hitting anything, but he is hitting 9th. So
All right, but I mean, with $3,800, this enables us to get somebody like you could get Rafaela in there, Sal Frelick if he's batting leadoff.
Sure. Yeah, Chorio's there at 35.
Starling Marte's in here.
Nelson Velasquez had a good night last night.
What? Who? What?
Nelson Velasquez had a good night last night.
Nelson Velasquez. You could put Jared Walsh into your outfield if you want at 3,500.
It's true. $300 left over.
Churio, Melendez. So who's your favorite for right now? God, finish that lineup here, John.
I mean, I put Walsh in there. I think Walsh is fine. I do think he's good hitting 6 in that lineup for against Brown there. Let's do a chalk lineup here. King of Smack in the chat. Thoughts on doing Singer Canning? He's doing a 1-man bullet with stacking the Braves bottom half, some KC bats. I mean, listen, obviously, if you're looking to spend down, Singer, $8,300, Canning $7K, definitely being different than what the field is getting to. In this range here, they're playing Quintana, and you're playing what was it there? Cutter Crawford, I think it was for the ownership. So, but Singer, listen, Singer has teased us in the past. 7 shutout, 10 Ks. And now he gets the White Sox. It's not a terrible spot for him.
No,
we've gone through this with Brady Singer for the last 5 years, it feels like, where he gets on runs and we're like, hey, this was the guy that was like one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. And then he goes for a 4-start stretch where he can't find the strike zone and he goes 5 innings, with a couple of runs given up. I'm kind of with you, though. I do like Brady Singer. Royals are obviously big favorites here tonight, so I'm definitely fine going Singer. Canning for me, I think is the one where I said earlier in the show, I think there could be something here because he's pitched better last year than he did obviously on opening day. He faced Baltimore. Baltimore's offense is a juggernaut. The Red Sox lineup showed that they even had some trouble against the Oakland staff. Outside of Rafael Devers, they don't have a ton of, oomph in their lineup right now. Costas, we think he eventually comes through, but most of the Red Sox lineup is hitting well under 300. So, Canning could be interesting. And then the Quintana thing is just an ownership play. So I'm definitely more in on Singer here than I think Canning. If I was picking one, you could go down from Peralta, go Singer and Crawford today and save yourself like $600 more there. So world 20 miles an hour in LA tonight. Let's see. Do we have, that doesn't always matter depending on how the stadium is built there. So let's see what we got for updated weather for us. Do we know if the weather is blowing in or out? I guess is also the question.
That I am not 100% sure.
Winds are blowing out to right at 20 miles an hour. Our good friend Kevin Roth there, Bender. He's got the fantasy weatherman has it blowing out 20 miles an hour today. So, if that scares you off Crawford, that makes sense. We got $300 to go to Singer if you think it's a better spot. It's better saying give me all the Boston lefty bats. I mean, Devers, Casas, you got Emmanuel Valdez will be in the lineup. Reese McGuire will be in the lineup for them as well from the left side of the plate. Jaron Duran obviously has been a bit of a dynamo for that offense. A lot of stolen base potential there for him.
So where are you at? Are you at fading Crawford if that's the case?
I don't think I'm still out on fading him. I think Singer obviously makes for a decent pivot off. If that's where you're going to go. Aaron saying you're going to want Cutter. So we like Cutter Crawford. He was in our initial builds. He's definitely in the player pool. Singer definitely deserves to be in the player pool for us here. Let's see what we can do if we did Peralta and Quintana just go and chalk pitching, Howard. How about that?
Ugh. I mean, you can if you want. That means we gotta pull out all our reds.
We do got to pull out our reds, but that gives us more money to play some Braves, some Phillies. Let's see here. Let's get Castellanos back in here. Castellanos, boom. That's $5,600 for a first baseman. We weren't spending that much. King of Smack, Cody Bradford. I'm not going Bradford against Houston. Not me. I like the Houston bats today.
I do. I like them too. I will say Bowden was really in on Bradford. Says that he's a guy who could definitely surprise people.
Yeah.
He wasn't like, oh my God, this guy's going to be great. Bet all your money on him. But he was talking about, we were talking about some waiver wire stuff for fantasy. He threw Cody Bradford's name out there as a possibility.
Okay. Harper fits it right on the money, $5,600. I know it's lefty, but getting you Harper, Bohm, and Castellanos in for the Phillies here. Smith and Walsh doing a little stack for Texas, gives you Atlanta and Albies. Kind of fill that out with the one off wire for spend out. So
that's not bad. But what happens if you take out Quintana and you put in
sports better? Yeah, listen, obviously current rostership projections have Strider actually as the second highest rostered starting pitcher, but obviously the price. I think if I had to assume, the reason why Quintana is getting the love that he is getting is probably due to the ownership that Spencer Strider is getting here today. If you're spending up on Strider, you need to find a spend down, or else you're not getting any of the bats really into your lineup. So those two could just be correlated here. And I'm certainly not looking to fade Strider. I will say, though, he got up to 90 pitches in that last outing, 5 innings, 2 earned, gave up a homer, had the 8 strikeouts against Philly. Home opener, as you mentioned. Arizona's lineup's been pretty decent to start the year, but they've been, they're on the West Coast. So, something to look at with Strider. He just needs to literally dominate to pay off $11K. 20 fantasy points is not enough at $11,000. So,
right.
If he's not going out there 6-7 shutout, getting you a win and getting you 11, 12 strikeouts, that may struggle to pay off $11,000 here.
And he's listed. He asked if nobody was going to pay for Strider. Strider's actually projected as the third highest owned starting pitcher now.
Yeah, I said second, so third, second in that same range. So
yeah, second is our boy Griffin Canning. Everybody loves Griffin Canning.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of where that's at least looking for this evening here. Any other thoughts here? How guys? Get any more questions in the chat? Feel free to throw them in there. Happy to help y'all out. And if you haven't done so already, toss a like on today's show. Hit that thumbs up button. It's a free way to support what we do here over on the Fantasy Storm YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, Howard and I live every day, 4 p.m. Eastern. Henry Wilson also pops in on the live streams with Howard here during the week. And, of course, we do a pre-show. We record it the night before. We get it out nice and late so you all can wake up and get a quick preview of the slate as well to get you guys ready for that day's live stream when we can update you all the ownership and all the weather and all the lineups as they become more official. I'm trying to see if any other lineups have come out since we've gone live. It doesn't look like it. Just the Rangers right as we went live here. Simeon Seager, Langford, Garcia, Carter, Walsh, Heim, Smith, and Leotis there for the Rangers.
Yeah, we're just missing Houston, Seattle, Milwaukee, and then the Boston Angel game. Got lineups for everything else.
Starting lineups for everything else there. So, guys, we appreciate you all tuning in. Again, coming up next, 5 p.m. Eastern, I am right back here. I'm doing the NBA DFS show with James Grande. We're getting you guys ready for the Friday NBA DFS slate. So if you like that, stick around. Again, hit the like and subscribe so you get notified whenever we go live here on the channel. Howard and I will be back on Monday. Get you guys ready for the new week here. So good luck then. Get us in the Discord. Find us on Twitter if you haven't done so already. And we'll catch you guys later.